We begin with breaking news tonight. Fire crews are battling a large fire in downtown Beaumont. This historic building went up in flames just after 7 this evening. It's the Gilbert Building, located right off of Bowie and Pearl Street, about a block away from Crockett. Now we're going to show you a live look at what the fire looks like now. This is nearly 3 hours since the building first went up in flames. This is from our Roofing 911 Skycam.
The good news is no injuries have been reported, but as Brenda noted, this thing's been burning for 3 hours or so. We have our 12 news crews spread out across downtown tonight. Kyle Orr talking with some of the building owners down there who are certainly nervous because of the size of this fire. First, though, let's go to 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman. Ebony, you spoke with the fire chief. What's he saying about this?
Guys, I'm actually going to step out of the shot here before I do my spill. I want you guys to see just the sheer amount. We got flames at the top. That's been happening for about the last 10 minutes, shooting out the top of that of this building here, the top floor. Fire crews have been out here working tirelessly to put out these flames. Chief White says the fire happened on the outside, on the south side of the building. He says the call came in around 7:08 and they had crews on the scene in less than 4 minutes. Chief White says the building is abandoned and luckily no one was hurt. The biggest fear right now is this building possibly collapsing because of its poor condition.
We did attempt an interior attack on the fire, trying to subdue it, but because of the condition of the building and everything, we pulled everybody out and went defensive to make sure that we didn't get anybody hurt.
Now, White says he doesn't know how the fire started. As of right now, they're still working to find that information out. He says while the fire is contained, they will be working throughout the night to put the fire all the way out. Again, a very active scene here in downtown Beaumont outside the Gilbert Building.
All right, Ebony, thank you. We know it's all hands on deck. We've got live team coverage tonight for you. Our 12 News reporter Kyle Orr is also at the scene there. We'll check in with him in just a moment.
First, we want to show you the view once again live from our Roofing 911 Skycam. You can see how much smoke is just pouring across downtown. We noted this at the top of the show. I mean, this thing has been burning, Brenda, more than 3 hours at this point, and we see these flare-ups. I mean, you can see the flames visible there on the horizon.
Yeah, you know, I was leaving the BBB Torch Awards this evening when it first caught on fire. It wasn't as big as it is now. The black smoke was first beginning to form, and of course it's still burning 3 hours later. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn. Patrick, you've been watching the fire unfold from your Skycam tonight. Yeah,
light northeasterly winds across the area have now gone calm, so that's some good news. Hopefully not fanning the flames any further, but lots of smoke moving across the sky and along the ground. You can see how the visibility is lower. Look at the smoky streets in Beaumont there. You can barely see the street lights as that smoke plume fans out across downtown Beaumont.
Patrick, thanks. Let's get back to the breaking news downtown. We've got 12 News reporter Kyle Orr on the scene of this 2-alarm fire as well.
Yeah, Kyle, you've been speaking with people who were outside of the building. Some of them were evacuated from just next door. What are they telling you?
Well, Brenda, Jordan, I mean, it is a crazy fire, crazy situation. I'm standing here actually with Randy Lang, who is the owner of the Lang Building on Pearl Street, right across from the building that's ablaze. So you told me that you were evacuated just after dark, and just kind of tell me what that was like and how quickly did the flames go up?
I saw a small stream of black smoke in the beginning. By the time the fire department arrived, it was totally engulfed. The firemen went in thinking they could get it out pretty quick. They came out immediately. The whole thing was gone that fast. So, and now it's getting worse.
What are some dangers to the surrounding area, like, you know, from asbestos, etc.?
I know that it had asbestos in the bottom. The building has asbestos in it, so that could be an issue. I would think it's a problem now with all this smoke. Luckily for me and the grill, the Riverside Grill, the wind's blowing out of the north, so it's getting other people. So we lucked out on that. If it was blowing out of the south, my building would have been destroyed, probably.
Let's hope to a quick and peaceful resolution to this. Thank you, Randy. Back to you, Brandon and Jordan.
Yeah.
We do want to recap. Again, it's the Gilbert Building. We did some research here in our newsroom. It was built in 1903. You found that out by doing some searching through the database from the state. Built in 1903. So the building is relatively old. Again, it's been burning for 3 hours. You can still see the billowing smoke. This is a time lapse from our Roofing 911 Skycam showing some of the black smoke.
If you're just tuning in, I know it's been a busy night. We've got the NBA Finals that were on earlier. We're recapping what you know. This is the live view from our 12 News Skycam downtown at Packard-LaPrade near the Jefferson County Courthouse. Again, looking north into downtown. That's Hotel Beaumont in the foreground and the fire that's burning just a block from Crockett Street. You heard that business owner talking with Kyle. If the winds had been out of a different direction, this fire could have threatened Crockett Street, the newly renovated restaurant there, the Spindletop Grill on the corner, and the lofts across the street. So some real concerns there. Firefighters have used the words that they have the fire contained. And I think,
right.
you know, Brenda and I were talking in the newsroom as we watched this Skycam. The firefighters' version of contained and what the rest of us might think of when we see contained or hear the word contained, it's really different. And I think you explained it really well.
That's right. I guess we spoke with Chief Earl White, who sort of explained that when they say contained, they mean they're confident it will no longer spread. So they've surrounded the fire. They're confident it'll stay, and they're working to put it out. But so their term for contained means everybody else outside of that perimeter should be okay as they work to battle the flames through the evening.
Here's another vantage point of those flames still shooting out of the roof. We've got crews surrounding this building as well, a 4-story building that, as Brendan noted, historic, 1903. This built just 2 years after Spindletop by the Gilbert family in downtown Beaumont. The first call at 7:08 tonight. Firefighters on the scene just 3 to 4 minutes later. The huge headline, no injuries to report, but this has caused really a lot of headaches for people downtown. And as the business owner noted, you're really thinking of these fire crews who have got to be exhausted by this point. 3
Absolutely.
hours in.
We'll check back in with Ebony in just a couple of moments.
You're watching 12 News at 10. We have continuing coverage on a major fire that's been burning in downtown Beaumont at the historic Gilbert Building. This is what it looked like earlier at sunset, that eerie smoky haze as the smoke plume spread across downtown.
That's right. A 2-alarm fire, according to Fire Chief Earl White. 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman standing by from downtown. Ebony, what have you learned tonight?
Yeah, guys, city leaders have actually come out here to see what's going on. We got Mayor West and Chris Boone. He is the assistant city manager, here in Beaumont. He tells me that tomorrow the city will be evaluating whether the city will have to tear this building down or if it will be left up to the owner that Kyle spoke with. Chief White telling me that, you know, usually in downtown, these buildings are kind of butted up next to each other, but Chief White tells me that none of the other buildings surrounding the Gilbert Building have been impacted. Chief White says the fire started on the south side of the building. The call came in about 7:08. They had crews on the scene in less than 4 minutes. He says while the building, it's abandoned, and luckily no one was hurt, but a firefighter did again have to be treated for heat exhaustion. He said at this point, the fire got so overwhelming that the crews, they had to pull out and go into defense mode and set up massive strands of water coming off these ladder trucks. I can see 2 right here with my eyes and many more that are just filled with water. He said the biggest fear that the city's having, that he's having, is this building possibly collapsing.
We're setting up master stream operations just to make sure that we'll maintain security for our personnel and safety. And we might be here a while, but we're going to take our time and make sure that no casualties or anything.
Again, investigators from the fire department trying to figure out how this fire got started. I'm going to step out because you don't want to see me. We want to show you this crazy fire here in downtown Beaumont. We got the fire crews spraying from one of their ladder trucks up into the top, where you can see those flames in the Gilbert Building, kind of the top floors of this 4-story building. Again, a crazy night, even crazy fire here where city leaders and the fire crews have worked tirelessly to put this fire out tonight. I'm live in Beaumont. Ebony Coleman, 12 News.
All right, Ebony, and we are thinking of those firefighters. We'll leave those live pictures up on the right, and we've also been watching, really focused in on our Skycam all night long because you could also see the glow on the horizon. One of the things we wanted to note, the firefighters moved into what they call defensive mode pretty early on in this because they realized it was just too unsafe to stay inside the building. Ebony's been talking talking about that. So they're doing what they call the pouring of water from outside on it because it just was too unsafe for the fire crews to stay in there. And then Brenda, there's the live pictures again, the fire still raging at this hour.
Yeah, you heard from the chief. He referenced a master stream. That's that continuous flow of water coming from the hose that they're not manning it. It's just continuing to pour water into the building as they help. They try to put the blaze out. One thing that the chief also said earlier this evening when we were inquiring about the size of the fire, he did say it was a 2-alarm fire and that every off-duty first responder was called to respond to fires across the city. So they've got a big group responding to this fire, and everybody who was off duty was called in to help respond to fires should they pop up across the city.
I didn't realize that. That's just incredible. So our hearts go out to all of the first responders across Beaumont who are on the scene here and elsewhere protecting the city tonight, because it has been a tough couple of hours here in downtown Beaumont fighting this fire.
Yeah, now while we want to keep our first responders safe, we're asking you guys at home to share your pictures and videos with us. We want to make sure that they can focus on battling the blaze. So if you've got any pictures of the blaze, any videos that you might have taken from a safe distance, share them with us. You can go to the 12 News Now app. Just go to Near Me and click Share with Us.
Good evening, Southeast Texas. Again, this is a time lapse of that fire that is still ongoing, and you can see the glow of the flames and the smoke, which probably contains asbestos, moving on off towards the south and west. Otherwise, a little closer inspection shows the flames still glowing there in downtown Beaumont, and the winds are fairly light right now out of the north and northeast at the present time. And look at how downtown Beaumont, it's very smoky, obviously.
You're watching 12 News live, continuing coverage on a 2-alarm fire that has ravaged the historic Gilbert Building in downtown Beaumont. What you see right here on your screen, live pictures from 2 vantage points. But what is the big headline? The fire is still burning. 3.5 hours that Beaumont firefighters have been on the scene tonight. They have contained the fire, Brenda. So the good news is they're not concerned about it spreading.
That's right. Despite the low winds, they said it won't continue to spread. They're confident they'll be able to stay through the night and help put the blaze out. The silver lining in all this, no injuries have been reported. One firefighter did have to be treated for heat exhaustion, but other than that, we haven't heard any reports of any deaths, any injuries, any significant injuries, at least tonight.
Of course, our Daybreak team will have the latest first thing in the morning, and we'll be keeping you updated throughout the night on 12newsnow.com.
Breaking overnight, fire crews have been battling a large fire in downtown Beaumont. The historic Gilbert Building caught fire around 7 last night. It's located right off of Bowie and Pearl Street, just a block away from Crockett Street. Good morning, I'm Tia Johnson. This is still a developing story, so be sure to stick with Daybreak throughout the morning as we bring you the latest. We're going to take a live look from our Roofing 911 Sky Cam. A different scene this morning compared to last night, but we know crews are still on scene. There's a time lapse of the fire. You can see the smoke billowing for hours last night. Areas around the building had to be evacuated, but we do know the building was empty and no injuries have been reported. Let's check in on how things are looking right now. Cameron Bird Shed joins us live. Cam, you've been out there for hours. What's going on?
Tia, there started as 13 engines when the fire behind me started yesterday at 7 p.m. and now it's been going on for about 9 hours now. And as you can see behind me, we are here on the corner of Bowie and Pearl, where Beaumont Fire and Rescue has been fighting this fire on the Gilbert Building. Again, has been burning since 7 p.m. But after speaking to Chief Earl White earlier, he tells me that the fire is under control, but the main important thing that is causing the most concern is the structural integrity of the building due to the pre-fire condition, and now along with the heavy fire and the amount of water that has been sprayed into the building already. But Chief White said the call came in around 7:08 yesterday. They had crews on the scene in less than 4 minutes. He says that the building is abandoned and luckily no one was hurt. However, a firefighter did have to be treated for heat exhaustion because he says at one point the fire got so overwhelming he had to have his crews out and go into defense mode and set up master strands of waters from their ladder trucks. Their biggest fear is the building collapsing because of its poor condition.
We did attempt an interior attack on the fire, trying to subdue it, but because of the condition of the building and everything, we pulled everybody out and went defensive to make sure that we didn't get anybody hurt.
White says he doesn't know how the fire started right as of now. Our crew last night was able to talk to a concerned business owner in the area that had to be evacuated.
I came down here about 30 minutes after the fire started to make sure the salon was safe and everything was taken care of, and they immediately came in and evacuated the whole building, so I haven't been able to get back in and see what's going on. We'll probably be out for probably a week or so.
And our 12 News crews have been on the scene since the fire started yesterday at 7 p.m. and we're going to continue to give you coverage of the fire and the latest updates.
Well, Cam, you told me that crews have been out there for hours. Has the chief been able to talk to you about a rotation time of crews since they've been battling this for a while now?
Chief Earl White actually left the scene shortly after we arrived, but however, we were able to speak on the phone. He said 13 engines were on scene whenever the fire first started and that they were luckily just down the road. But as of now, there are only 3 or 4 remaining crews left over since it is now a skeleton crew. However, he did say that this crew will remain since there are small hot spots that they can't necessarily reach inside of the building, but that these crews will stay here to continue to monitor the scene.
All right, thank you, Cam. We'll check back again with you later on. Well, we also talked to Tom Flanagan, the owner of the Gilbert Building. He's currently working to renovate it. In a statement to 12 News, he thanked the firefighters for their strength and courage in fighting the fire. He went on to say, quote, "This is not going to stop our vision for moving forward. We believe downtown needs to be revitalized, bigger and better, and we will begin the renaissance of our city." Breaking overnight, fire crews have been battling a large fire in downtown Beaumont. A historic Gilbert Building caught fire around 7 last night. It's located right off Bowie and Pearl Street, just a block away from Crockett Street. Good morning, Southeast Texas. I'm Tia Johnson. Beaumont Fire Chief Earl White confirms it was a 2-alarm fire. He's confident it will not continue to spread. We're going to take a live look from our Roofing 911 Sky Cam. A different scene this morning, or that's what it looked like right then. Right now, you can see it's a different scene this morning compared to last night. Let's go ahead and take a time lapse of that fire from our Sky Cam. You can see right there the smoke billowing for hours last night. Areas around the building had to be evacuated, but we do know the Gilbert Building was empty. No injuries have been reported from the fire at this time. Let's head out to Cameron Burchett. She has been on the scene for hours, and Cam, it's still a very active scene at this hour.
Exactly right, Tia. The fire has been ongoing for now 10 hours and counting. The fire started yesterday around 7 p.m. here on the corner of Pearl and Bowie. And what we know so far is that the building is still having a little bit of hot spots, and that's what you can see happening right there behind it. There are firemen here. There are 4 remaining crews on scene when it started at about 13 around 7 p.m. yesterday, but they're going to continue to monitor the fire to make sure that nothing ramps back up again. However, Chief White said the call came in yesterday around 7:08. They had crews on the scene in less than 4 minutes. Chief White says the building is abandoned, and again, luckily no one was hurt. A firefighter did have to be treated for heat exhaustion because he says at one point the fire got so overwhelming he had to send crews out and go into defense mode and set up master strands of water from the ladder trucks. However, the biggest fear is the building collapsing because of its poor condition.
We did attempt an interior attack on the fire, trying to subdue it, but because of the condition of the building and everything, we pulled everybody out and went defensive to make sure that we didn't get anybody hurt.
White says he doesn't know how the fire started as of now. However, our crew was able to talk to a concerned business owner in the area that had to be evacuated.
I came down here about 30 minutes after the fire started to make sure the salon was safe and everything was taken care of, and they immediately came in and evacuated the whole building, so I haven't been able to get back in and see what's going on. We'll probably be out for probably a week or so.
And again, it has been about 10 hours or so since the fire originally started yesterday at 7 p.m., but we're going to continue to have 12 News crews here on the scene, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more.